Hello again. So, it's been a few months since I uploaded my last video on this particular channel, at least. On my other main one, I guess you could say, I've been uploading like a lot. I've been uploading a lot like daily, which I just kind of broke the cycle yesterday or last night or whatever, because I was like, I don't know, I was realizing that trying to force myself to upload twice or daily, as well as in this case even twice daily at least, for two different things was just becoming it was becoming too I wouldn't say stressful, but just like annoying, and I was like losing motivation doing it and not enjoying doing it or whatever. Because I was just trying to every day force myself, no matter how late it was or whatever shit, and it was hurting my progress and productivity within those things that I was trying to do. So I was like, you know what? It was an interesting thing to do for like I did for like a little bit over a whole month. But for now, I'm just going to do it at my own pace without worrying about trying to get one out every day or whatever thing. So because I realized it just doesn't really work too well for me because I was getting less done. I was wanting to do it less and less, so I was like, you know what, let's change the strategy there. But the main thing that I'm making this video for, the main reason, is because Alexander from Belarus, who I had a conversation with, I don't even know, man. It might have been almost like a year ago, if not longer. I honestly, I can't even remember how long ago it was. It's crazy. But he wanted to get in contact again, and he wanted to have a conversation, and we had it one scheduled for today. For me, this morning. For him, it would be evening. But he had to cancel because of, I guess, his whole internet situation changed, and he's not able to get right now, or I don't know how long, any comfortably quiet place to have a conversation with, a one-on-one conversation or whatever. So he said that if I wanted to, I mean, I could if I wanted to anyway, but I was like, you know what, yeah, just because I had it scheduled anyway, go through the questions that he had listed already, and might as well just try to answer them, I guess. Because, I don't know. What the hell? I was going to do it for a walk. Like, I go for a walk and answer the questions. But this morning, I mean, it's funny because I was actually feeling like I have different days where some days I feel like extra warm. Other days I feel like extra cold and I like need to bundle up because it's like, even like if it's not that cold, I feel cold. But today I felt, at least when I woke up, I was pretty warm, even though it's pretty cold out, like maybe 10 degrees Fahrenheit off of freezing. Um, but I didn't feel that cold. I did go for a walk, but I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna feel like talking because eventually I'm gonna start feeling cold probably with how cold it is. And I was like, I don't feel like recording a video while I'm doing that, and then I'm gonna start getting cold, and then I'm gonna want to go inside and stuff. So I was like, you know what, let's just do it. Let's just do it here. I went for a little walk. That was nice. I haven't went for a walk in a while, actually, just because, I don't know. Like, that was the thing, is that the daily uploads were taking up so much of my time that I wasn't doing stuff that I would be doing, like, before that I started doing those daily uploads, where I was going out and doing stuff like dumpster diving, which in result made me had me take my bike out and stuff and get a little bit of cardio exercise, that kind of thing. Some nights, I mean, I don't know, but like, I haven't felt like doing it as much. My mom, she's just been buying so much shit, like so much food recently or whatever, that I'm like, well, why am I gonna go dumpster diving if she's buying so much crap anyway that we're barely going through? Because I eat a decent amount when I do eat, but it's not enough for how much she buys. So it's like, hey, whatever, it's not my BS money, it's theirs. So it's like, hey, If you guys want to waste it, go ahead. I'm not gonna try to stop that anymore. It's a impossible thing to control or stop. But yeah, you know, dumpster diving was fun some nights, so I was like, yeah, I should do that again. Um, on days that I don't feel like making a video or something like that. Um, I haven't gone for a walk that much just because kind of the same reason, as well as I haven't had felt like as much of a reason besides the getting out thing, but I have been getting usually a decent amount of sun because if it's a nice like sunny day out like today, I would go out and just be like a plant and just sit in the sun and bask in the heat of it and everything like that, the warmness. But yeah, today I went for a short walk, which I haven't done in a while, so that was nice in the cold morning air and everything. But yeah, on to the main thing is that Alexander and I were going to have a conversation, but his situation changed, so we weren't able to. So I'm going to be trying to answer some of the questions that he had listed that we were going to have as a as a backup or whatever if the conversation didn't was going slow or whatever thing like that, which it probably wouldn't have. But either way, some interesting stuff he decided to write down. So I'm gonna go over that. I'm gonna have Alexander's or Alex, whatever, his channel linked in the description and everything like that. Alex from Belarus. I don't even want to try to pronounce your last name or your full like name, Russian name or whatever, because I'll completely butcher it. But you know, you'll know who it is. Everything is channel. Um, it was funny too, actually, is that I'm almost like I'm not glad that you had to cancel, but I was like, wow, because I woke up just because yesterday was ironically the day that I was like, you know what, I got to stop this daily upload stuff. It's not helping me. And I stayed up to like 1:30 or some shit just because I was just thinking. And then I woke up this morning and I was waking up earlier many mornings at like 7, like 7:30, so like fairly early, just naturally. But when I kept staying up to finish these daily uploads that I kept putting off and putting off throughout the day, um, it was getting later and later, and then I'd be sleeping later because I was, well, I was going to sleep later, so I was sleeping till later in the morning, and I was tired, whatever, kind of. I'm not waking up on any alarm and any shit like that. I don't do that anymore. F that. That's one of the worst things. That's one of the worst things I realized that doing a quote unquote job or whatever, like the BS jobs that this society has people do and everything, forces onto people, and as well as stuff like school and all these other BS institutions. Uh, that was like the worst thing was interrupting my sleep or just not, I'm not even saying that like sleep is even that necessarily important overall. I've sort of realized, I guess, I don't know, it's like there's almost no things that I want to say anymore after I've done fasting and stuff that I feel like you truly need. We're just kind of conditioned to think that we do. But I think sleep is one of those things that it's nice to be able to have a full sleep and not have it interrupted by something or whatever, especially something like an alarm or some crap like that. That's one of the worst things I found, at least. For me, I was like, holy crap, that was one of the worst parts was waking up when I didn't want to be woken up at a specific time, and I was just like, oh my God, that was the worst time of the day. Every time, the worst time of the day when I was doing those kind of things, which is part of the reason I think they do that to kids in the education system or whatever. It's school is, man, I've gotten so much stuff about school that it's like, wow, it's one of the most, people don't really talk about it enough. I think it's one of the most screwed up institutions out there in terms of actually like messing up kids or whatever. I don't know. That's just my opinion and so many other things, but I'm not going to be talking about that in this video at least. But yeah, I'm going to be answering some of these questions or trying to. And oh, but that's what I was. I'm sorry. That's what I was gonna say. Is that I woke up way later than I normally would today. I woke up and I was like, I was sleeping. I was like, I don't really feel like getting up right now. But then I was like, it's probably getting pretty late. Probably around that time that I had scheduled for to have the conversation with Alex. And then when I woke up, I was like, wow. I was like, holy crap, it's 8:45. So I had like 15 minutes. So I just kind of did my little routine stuff, did my chin-ups, pull-ups, got dressed, uh, checked off my calendar, all that kind of crap, just real quick. And then when I checked my email, I saw that he said that he canceled. I was like, oh, well, I guess that was perfect then. Otherwise, I mean, I would have been fine just waking up 15 minutes beforehand. But yeah, it's kind of funny how that worked out, I guess. But yeah, let's go over some of these questions and I'll stop rambling about stuff not related to the questions. I have the list right here on the screen. Um, yeah, and he told me why he couldn't make it. Da, 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 da. Write my questions that you prepared today and maybe use them during your next walk and talk. Well, in this case, I would have, but it's a little bit cold for me, and I don't feel like feeling the embrace of the coldness and my hands being cold and everything in the middle of the conversation or the middle of the talking. So I'd rather just do it here where it's more warm and everything like that. Even though there's some interesting stuff that happens when you are walking and talking rather than just sitting and talking. You tend some certain thoughts tend to come about a little bit more naturally, I'd say, when you're kind of like physically doing something while trying to talk about something. I don't know, it's strange. You're just kind of like looking around when you're moving around, but when you're not moving around, you're staying stationary, is that it's definitely a different kind of experience or sensation, whatever, when you're trying to do that kind of stuff. But here's the first question that he had written down. Number one, do you have any memory? Do you have any? If I can read properly, do you have any do you have any memorable dreams lately? And he says, recently I was reading the Bible once again and found out the statement that we will learn from our dreams in the future, and I have been having some really educating dreams lately. Um, so with me, for I mean, since we last had our conversation, I've probably had a few dreams. I'm sure I've had a few dreams since then because that was quite a long time ago. But recently, now that I've changed my sort of pattern in certain things and the things that I'm like doing on a daily basis as well as some of my focuses. I'll say basically like almost no. Like I've been having very few dreams as of late, and I haven't been trying to remember them if I have been having them or whatever. I've just been like, just if they happen, they happen, but then I completely forget about them basically. But there was many times years ago and other times in my life where I would have very vivid dreams, nightmares, many nightmares and dreams and everything, and I would remember them, but a lot of the time it would happen mostly when I was uh trying to remember them. Like I was actively telling myself, like I before I went to bed, like I want to remember my dreams tonight, and then I'll write them down in the morning and stuff like that. Like I'd repeat that mantra to myself before I went to bed and everything. And you know, it worked in that sense. But recently, like I haven't been trying to do that, so I haven't really been remembering too much or at all or anything. And I honestly like I think a lot of people might lean towards dreams being like a thing, a sign of a positive thing, and I think that anything can be a sign of a positive thing in the right context or from the right person. But and I think that's true as well. It's just it depends completely on the context. But in my case, I think the reason, I mean, I don't know 100%, but I feel like from what I remember, a lot of the times when I would have dreams and vivid dreams and stuff like that was at points in my life or whatever, like the previous incarnations of myself or whatever, as I've changed over time, quote unquote time, as I've changed and grown and evolved, whatever you want to go with it, I feel like the dreams have become less frequent. Maybe not so much as like a negative thing, like I'm becoming some like more of an NPC, or I'm going back on some frequency of the normies, because I definitely don't think that. I definitely don't feel that myself, at least. Like I think if I was genuinely going more towards that, I would have an inkling, or I feel like it's almost impossible after a certain point to really go back to that, like kind of with that stupid analogy or whatever with Cypher wanting to go back to the Matrix and stuff like that, desperately want to go back to the Matrix. Like, I don't really think that I've been doing that at all, and it's just that my focus has changed somewhat. But from the general kind of reminiscing or going back on those patterns that I noticed when I was, you know, my younger self, my younger parts of myself, younger incarnations of myself, whatever. Less, not so much less evolved, maybe, but different versions of myself, like years back, like a few years back, and even months back, whatever. We're always changing. At least I think that's how it should be. We're always changing. And, but I've been having less dreams, and I almost looked at it like when I did have way more dreams, like way more frequently, I realized when I like kind of thought of the general state that I was in during those times, is that it was almost always in a much more uneasy and uneasy, stressful, unquiet time that I was in. Like, I was much more stressed about various things I was trying to, you know, be a lot of BS things that I was trying to accomplish, like getting good grades or whatever stupid shit like that. Um, get laid, stupid shit like that. Um, just so many other things, like, accomplish, you know, do working, stuff like that, making money and all that crap. What am I gonna do with involving money and everything and working and all this BS? Like my supposed perception of what's the future holds for me, that kind of crap. Is that when I was always stressing over these things, especially when I was even younger than that, when I was still in the BS public education system, um, yeah, I would have a lot of dreams and a lot, almost equally as many, maybe not equally as many, but almost equally as many, like what I would consider kind of nightmares and dreams. Like, so it was almost like a 50-50 split, maybe like three fourths just dreams and then one-fourth nightmares kind of thing. Negative kind of, generally negative kind of stuff. So with that, I almost kind of look at, from my own perception at least right now, is that dreams are almost an indicator of dis-ease or unease, possibly, or stress that you are currently experiencing, and it's almost like a reaction to that. That's something, a part of you is speaking to that in some way. So, you know, maybe I'm diluting myself, but I feel like right now, besides the recent like stress, whatever that I've been putting on myself trying to do the daily uploads things, I feel like I've been generally very happy or satisfied, uh, content, whatever you want to say, in my current lot in life, or my current situation in life, whatever you want to say, my current progress. Um, that's just how I feel, at least. I know there's so many probably other things that I could improve on, but I'm just not there's so many less things that I'm worried about now. Like that I'm besides, like I said, the stupid thing where I was trying to upload daily, like little stuff like that I was worrying about, but so many other things I just don't care about. Like I don't like I mean, I worry to some extent with quote unquote money and all the resources and BS like that. Like I don't want to spend so much of my own stuff. But then at the end of the day I also realize this reality would provide either way. Like I would not be destroyed by this place, for I and everyone else or whatever, any other real people, whatever, we have made this place. So it's not going to I'm not going to destroy myself. It's not going to destroy me. So no matter what happens with that kind of financial bullshit, it's not going to matter. Is that it's not going to affect me at the end of the day. Is that I'm maybe some behavior or patterns will change because of it, but it's like, and you know, the fact that I realize stuff with like fasting and everything, none of this is gonna matter. None of this is gonna affect me in any way. The money, even though I do, like, being honest, I do still think about it sometimes. Like, I still try to save my money. I don't want to purposely make myself have no money or no resource to spend or whatever BS like that, and then have to do certain things potentially. It's just, I realize in the end of the day, it doesn't matter. So I, as little as possible, I don't think about it. I don't stress about it. I don't worry about it. Because I know there's so many other people that is, you know, that's one of their main things that they stress about, they worry about, is that kind of stuff. And that's just one of the things that I have basically taken out of the equation. That may, like, you know, like I said, it's not 100% taken out of the equation. It's just almost like completely gone compared to what it used to be, as well as so many other things. Like I don't really worry about what people think of me. It's always like it's never 100%, I would say, or maybe it's very difficult to have it 100% where you absolutely don't care whatsoever about something, or you're completely indifferent, that kind of thing. There's always that little inkling there, but right now for me it is so much less that I would say that is causing me, like, I don't worry about so many things I used to worry about. And I would say as a result, I am currently in probably one of the most, like, I don't even like to use the term happy that much because it's very generic, but I'm probably in one of my most happy states, general states, satisfied, not full of disease, or stress, or like unnecessary stress or anything like that, that I have been in probably, I don't know, probably in general, I don't know. It's just I feel good. I feel good spiritually, I feel good mentally, I feel good, like, you know, I feel pretty good physically and everything. I'm not like in the best shape of my life, but I'm in pretty good shape, I'd say, especially compared to some people. Um, so I'm in a very good state in that sense, and the fact that I haven't been having dreams recently, I say maybe that is a indicator of that to some extent, because as I said, the most times that I would be having dreams and remembering them for the most part was when I was trying to, like, actively remember them, as well as when I was just in a very stressful, disease filled, point in my life, existence here, or whatever. So right now, the fact that I haven't been having any is kind of an indicator to me that I think, um, I think I'm doing something right. I think. And yeah, that's I have no particular things to mention there, because I, like I said, I haven't really been remembering any of my dreams or having any or whatever. But I think that's kind of the explanation I have for that, I guess. Um, but yeah, let's I guess go on to the second question then. What wisdom, thoughts or emotions do you bring from games that you play into your real life? So it's kind of funny. Like, I mean, right now there's so many things that I could talk about, but I'm just kind of like as my thoughts coalesce or whatever, it's some of the words are being lost, I guess. But like video games are an extremely important aspect of myself, my life, whatever you want to say, my hobbies, my experience here, I would say. And besides the ones that I've been forcing myself to play for like over a month to upload stuff, these let's plays and everything, like I'm glad I was doing that because I was at a point where I'd spent actually like so many months that I was amazed. I was like, man, I haven't played any games at all, and that is that's like the longest stretch of time where I straight was not like playing any video games or whatever. I was always thinking about them and stuff and considering wanting to play them, but I was not actually playing them at all. And I was like, man, what the heck? And it's not like it was necessarily a problem. I was just like, that doesn't feel right. I need to force myself or whatever, spend some time to actually play some games again because I haven't done it in so long. And that's when I recently did play a few games and stuff, and I still want to play more and everything. Uh and give myself time to do that or whatever. But the things that it's hard to describe from that question, like just how much games kind of influence me, I'd say, or the things in video games influence me in my real life, my emotions, my soul, whatever, things like that, my various ways that I think, I guess you could say, and stuff of that sort. Like they are they are one of the biggest things that can draw out some real powerful emotions from me. A lot of times that those emotions get somewhat tucked away and not so much hidden to some extent, but I guess you could say that they're like sort of hidden because of that. Um, but like especially games like Earthbound that I've done on this channel an analysis of like probably almost a year ago at this point that I was doing that analysis kind of thing, and my thoughts and stuff and my perceptions have changed in so many ways since I've done that, leaning more towards a positive thing. But back then, that was me kind of like going through, even though there was a lot of positive stuff that I was getting from that, and there still is. It's just the way I realized, like, if I rewatched it, I'd be like, man, there's a lot of negative crap that and it's partially because of what I was going through, I guess you could say. The quote unquote, not so much awakening process, because I know I was always waking up or woken up to some extent, but the waking up process, whatever you want to call it, was so significant. It was so significant since the BS stuff that happened 2 years ago or whatever, like almost 3 years ago at this point, with the fake thing, the fake thing that we've all been experiencing or going through and all that stuff, that kind of stuff, the fake event, whatever. Um, it's like that was so much of the quote unquote energy that was going through that at the time when I was getting awoken to this kind of stuff. But now my perception of so many things has like shifted or changed more to a positive one, where it's like, you know what? There is there is no reason to be concerned about whatever of these like supposedly negative things that the screen throws at us, or at least for me, I say throws at me, because I'm just going to ignore it as best as I can. Maybe just laugh at it. If at the worst is laugh at it. At the best, completely ignore it and not care about it. Um, and just realize that I make I make the reality that I live in. Like, I create the reality that I live in, and the energy that I decide to put into it, that is what I decide to put into it. And putting the negative energy, or feeding that negative energy, was not something that I want to do, and not something that I think was really helping me or so many other people, most likely. And yet they still do it, but that's up to them. Like me, that's I believe that I chose to come here to this reality and incarnate in this reality and be here and everything. I chose here actively to do it, and I'm here to do this thing because, you know, I had that conversation a long time ago, which I think was one of my videos that I still kind of agree with almost like completely. Like, there's so many other things that I mean, not necessarily, but that was one that I almost 100% agree with what I was saying still. Even now, after I've changed and I've grown over these past few months and everything like that. Year, whatever. But just that I think that we are infinitely powerful beings at the end of the day, like at least the quote-unquote real people here, whatever. And similar to that character in, I guess, Star Trek or whatever, Q, I legitimately think that us us thinking about going to some thing after we die or whatever thing like that, like we're gonna be going to some other place, which we potentially are, or we probably are, or whatever. But at the same time, always like thinking that this place is some kind of hell, or thinking that this place is some kind of trap, or this place is somewhere you don't want to be and everything like that. Like you didn't choose to be here, somebody forced you to be here. I completely disagree with that, because I think, like, if we are these beings, I'm thinking, like, I'm trying to put myself into the shoes of an infinitely powerful being, God thing or whatever. And I think, man, it would be incredibly boring and lonely and not enjoyable after an infinite amount of quote-unquote time or whatever thing like that, you know, just an infinite stretch of whatever, to be that kind of being and then having that kind of power and everything like that. And it's like, you know what? I think that this is probably one of the most interesting experiences you could really have outside of that, because when there's no risk, when there's no, you know, when there's no idea of risk, when there's no idea of consequence, when there's no idea of this and that, and like the duality stuff, like the dark and the light, and the positive and the negative or whatever, then everything just being like one, it would become incredibly boring and mundane, and you would, as much as a god or infinitely powerful being could do, you just go crazy. And just like here, if you have enough of one thing, after a while you will get tired of it, and that would be the case, I think, in that same sense. So that's why I think that I will say that I know I came here on purpose, that I came here consciously. I don't know if it's exactly for that reason, but I can imagine that, yes, that would be the reason that I would want to come here, because it's like playing a video game. I mean, this is a video game, essentially, like in the same kind of sense. And that's how I'm looking at it, is that I'm here on purpose. I turned on the console, I turned on the game, I launched the application. I am playing this game in this incarnation, whatever you want to say, this physical incarnation. I've chosen to come here. So why am I going to dwell and pretend like I didn't and then just look at everything as a negative and how I can get out of here. Like the stuff with Matt from Quantum of Conscious. Like at this point, like I think he really has kind of burned his flame. I don't know. It's just everything now is like dwelling on the negative, and there's some interesting topics indeed, like the stuff with the AI generation, whatever, the AI image generation crap that's been blowing up recently. No, it is completely suspect, not suspect, it's completely BS that all of a sudden, like, now there's like 50 different just suddenly 50 different like AI generating program services, all this stuff. Like, this stuff got completely spammed everywhere. Like, now in every subreddit or whatever, there's like so many people posting AI generated art, and then there's like the divide between it's almost exactly like, say, from the video game Deus Ex Human Revolution, where it's the two sides, the ones that agree with cybernetic modifications and implants, and the others that are like the people that are the pure ones, they disagree with the cybernetic modifications and implants and stuff like that. And now it's becoming the same thing with this AI generated image things, that there's people that are like, they only want pure art created by actual, quote unquote, actual people. And then the ones that are using the AI generation program stuff, and then like crapping on those people that are putting their art up there, and it's getting like, quote unquote, stolen by the algorithms and stuff like that. So it's like the same thing. So I mean, it's the same deal with all these other things. Like he mentioned, obviously, like stuff like Facebook becoming the way it did, just like suddenly out of nowhere, just crushed MySpace and all that crap. Same thing recently with Discord, the thing Discord, like, you know, what kind of fucking name is that? Discord? Really? But Discord, like, coming out of nowhere and just replacing, at least essentially replacing all these other, like, chat room kind of things. I wasn't around for what they were specifically, or at least that it wasn't popular to me or whatever, but all the old chat room things that people like to use, like, it completely replaced those. So many other forums, it's like kind of replaced in many ways, all centralized in this one thing that nobody even knows, like, who the hell is Discord, like that kind of crap. What else did it do? The voice chat things, like, people don't even use like Ventrilo anymore, or TeamSpeak, or Zoom, or anything like that. They use, or not as frequently, that they'll use Discord often for that kind of stuff, in the same sense. Like, it's all just like all in one. Even this thing that I'm using right now, this OBS program, like, it is just an all-encompassing, like, program that just came out of nowhere that does like all the stuff, recording, video recording, audio recording, like all this stuff. Hey, even though I like it, like, it works very well and all that stuff, is that you can just tell it's an artificially propped up kind of thing. And that's just the same deal with this AI thing that came out of nowhere. I think this is just going to become even more frequent, or maybe we're just going to notice it much more when these things just come out of nowhere. I think, like, almost all this stuff, at the end of the day, like, there is no grassroots crap that just comes like, oh yeah, it's like, oh yeah, it was just some guys in their garage that made this thing. It's all artificially propped up to some extent. That's how I look at it. And to the same extent, it doesn't even matter. It's just like, you're the one who chooses to look at it the way that it is. You're the one who chooses to give it that negative kind of energy or context connotations. And you're the one who chooses to use it or not at the end of the day. Like, I don't know. Like me, I just don't care anymore about it. It's like, you know what? I'm not trying to stop some silly cabal concept of a cabal or whatever, stuff like that, and all this stuff. The taking over of the robots, like Skynet, shit like that. I'm not even trying to like pretend like I'm fighting that stuff anymore. Maybe some things I'll disagree with, but it's like, hey, you know, I'm not gonna be getting chips in my skin. I'm not gonna be doing any of that crap. I'm not gonna be connecting more with it, like, myself to it or anything like that. But I'm okay using this stuff because it's like, yeah, you know what? We've made this place and we choose to make it as negative or as positive as we really want to. That's how people might call that. I mean, so many of the negative assholes out there will call that kind of stuff like diluting myself or cope or whatever shit. To me, that's not the case. It's just, it is what it is. We choose to make of it as we do, and that's it. And what the hell was the original question even? That, yeah, the video game stuff. I went on a complete tangent there. What wisdom from games? Just so many things, like everything. It's so hard. Just like when somebody asks you your favorite blank. Like right now, I could say definitely for sure my favorite right now food. Like there's most of the time I wouldn't tell anybody like favorite blank or whatever because I usually don't like that kind of question. But right now, that's like the only thing I could say. My favorite thing would be my favorite food right now is apples. Second favorite, ice cream. So apples, ice cream. That's my favorite food right now. But in terms of trying to say like exactly what video games have given me or make me think of or whatever, have taught me or wisdom and stuff like that, it's just so much stuff, everything. Just like anything, like people get wisdom and knowledge and truth, quote unquote, from music and whatever, from books, from paintings, from nature, like whatever. Is that for video games, it's the same deal with me. It's the same stuff. They've given me my many times just overwhelming emotions and feelings that so many other things could never have elicited in me or whatever, have brought out within me. Stuff like Earthbound and like, you know, makes me cry, and it makes me feel good when I cry and everything like that. And there's other things that make me like it's not that hard, but those ones especially, they do, and they give me so much wisdom. I see so much truth in them, quote unquote truth. You know, I'm not even gonna call it truth anymore because I think it's a completely diluted term. It's like a loaded term almost. You know what? I'm probably gonna try and just not even say truth anymore, unless I'm talking about Boolean logic or whatever, where it's true and false kind of shit. But I'm not even gonna say truth anymore. I'm just gonna say the nature of this realm, the nature of this reality. They've given me so much wisdom or knowledge about the truth. About the nature of this realm, the nature of this reality, that I can't just describe it in words. That's what I'll try to say, I guess. That's what they've done. Video games have shown me so many things that have made me feel so many emotions, and they still do make me feel so many emotions, and I'll be playing more games that'll make me feel even more emotions. Like, I'm sure stuff like Majora's Mask, when I eventually get to playing that and stuff. Zelda Majora's Mask. So many other ones that I'll just see. I almost said it again. I'll see stuff about the nature of this reality, about this realm, and I'll see it in it, and it's nobody else would be able to see it but myself. Like or unless I mention it to them, then they're also in the same kind of frequency or whatever. Is that is what video games in general have revealed to me, have done for me. They have been a conduit to show me the nature of this realm and this reality that I reside in, and that I've chosen to reside in and incarnate in and such, and progress me through that. But yeah, let's move on to the third question. Any dietary changes that you have recently made that make you feel better and be stronger? Honestly, I mean, I would say that I've kind of like stagnated on the whole dietary kind of thing. Not so much stagnated like it's gone worse, but I haven't like been changing much. experimenting much like I was, just because I don't know, I'm in a pretty good state. I think like physically, I feel doing the fasting especially because I have not like I have been. There's only been like one time that I've broke that thing, and it was like for some funeral or some crap like that. Um, and even then, that was kind of just like trying to reset it after messing it up, and I did feel pretty shitty that the day afterward when I did that or something like that. But um, no, I haven't been experimenting too much with the dietary stuff like I was. Um, Specifically, I've just been kind of sticking with what's been working, I think. And yeah, like, I mean, I still eat like crap, but compared to so many other people, I feel amazing. Considering the crap that I eat, I still feel amazing compared to anybody else that'd be eating that same kind of crap every day. Because I'm only eating it once every 2 days or whatever. Like, doing my constantly rolling 48-hour fast or whatever. Like I don't eat once a day, I don't eat twice a day, I don't eat multiple times a day. I eat once every 2 days. One big meal, one pretty big meal every 2 days, and that's it. I eat very similar stuff, but probably the most healthy parts of it being stuff quote unquote healthy, stuff like the rice and apples at the end of it, and that's basically it. Like I eat a lot of carbs. Um, I don't really do the ketogenic stuff just because I haven't really felt the need to. Like, if I feel hungry, I just ignore it. Like, it's, I've gotten so used to it. Like, it's been over, for my recording, how much I record, every day, where I record my dietary log and stuff like that, and my weight and all the other stuff. It's been over 1,300 days. 1,300 and like 57 days. That's like the today's recording was 1,357 days basically that I have consistently recorded all that stuff and basically been doing this fairly consistently. Let's say like 1,000 days. Let's say just maybe more than that, like 1,100 days that I've been doing this fasting 48 hours kind of deal. And yeah, I don't know. It's I can't even give a magnitude. It is exponentially better than what I was doing than in terms of how I feel physically and how I am physically or whatever when I was eating the quote unquote normal diet of 3 square meals a day, 3+ square meals a day kind of crap. Like, I still sometimes have headaches, but now headaches are like so rare. It's crazy. Like the most recent thing that I felt really bad was when I had some cheesecake that was kind of funny or something like that. And oh man, that was fucked up. Like, what was it? I didn't even feel fucked up until like later in the day after I had this cheesecake that was like in the freezer, something like that from my what would you, my step grandmother or some shit like that. I don't know. My mom brought it from her house or something. I was like, oh, you know what? I might as well eat it because I don't like to waste food, even though I know it doesn't matter. But that's just how I am. I like to finish things. And when I had it, I was completely fine for like basically the entire day. But then near the end of the night, where it was like 10 p.m. or something like that, 10:30. It was just like all of a sudden, like something hit me like fucking suddenly. I was feeling like something in my lower gut or like my upper gut, like around like probably whatever the transition part between your stomach and your lower or your small intestines, whatever that little transition point, something like somewhere there, probably. I was feeling something. I was like, this feels like I'm gonna have like diarrhea or nausea or something like that. And it just felt like a weird feeling. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to sit here for a few minutes and just see what happens. And it hit me like I was like, what the fuck? I started to have like a little bit of a cold sweat. But then it just hit me. It hit me like I almost was thrown into a cold river or something like that. Like I was, for the next like 10, 15, I don't know if it was that long. For like probably like 10 minutes after that point, I was just sitting there, like almost like not paralyzed, but it felt like I was fucking paralyzed. Just like, I was like, oh my god. Just thinking, I was like, holy crap, I know this is gonna pass. Like, I wasn't, like any other person, they would have been at that point, they would have been like, call an ambulance or some bullshit like that. But there have been so many times where I've just been like, you know what? Like when I was doing the long ass times that I would be fasting and stuff like that when I first started doing it, like there was nights where my heart was just racing, trying to go to sleep and everything like that, and I was just thinking like, man, I could die right now, or my chest would hurt or something like that. And I'm like, you know, I could die, but then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. And every time it would just, I would wake up the next day and I'd be completely fine, basically. So there was no any time that I ever felt like I needed somebody to assist me or some shit like that. I knew at the end of the day my body would always resolve whatever was going on. It would do its thing, and I'd be completely fine after some amount of time or whatever thing, giving it some time. So I was never really worried about that, and I always gave it the respect and the faith in it to do what it needed to do and resolve whatever it needed to do. I just had to deal with the discomfort for that time, for that period of time or whatever. And it's the same deal with this one, but I was like, holy crap, man. That fucking felt like shit. Where I was like, for 10 minutes, I was just sitting there, like, sweating, completely cold sweating, just my entire body just soaked in sweat. And after the episode or whatever, after that happened, like the feeling passed or whatever, and I also felt like nauseous, like I felt like I was possibly gonna have to throw up or whatever, but I didn't in the end. Um, I got up from my chair after I was like, all right, the sweat has resided somewhat, or receded somewhat, like I feel somewhat better. And I stood up, my legs were like fucking jello, and I was like dizzy, and I was like, holy shit, man. So then I went like right to the bathroom, and it was like just for like the next like over an hour, I was just having like on and off diarrhea, and then at the end it was just like this giant explosion of like everything just coming out at once. I was like, oh, what the fuck? And I was like, you know what? The only thing, like, I try not to blame exterior things. I think that the whole health system and all that stuff is mostly BS. But in this case, I was like, you know what? The only thing that changed was I had that cheesecake compared to everything else. So I was like, I'm pretty sure it was that cheesecake. So I threw out whatever was left of it. And I was like, yeah, fuck that. I don't want to feel that again. for some stupid cheesecake. Um, and then I took my weight the next day, and I was like, what the fuck? I went down like almost a whole kilogram, like whatever, 2.2 pounds or whatever. I went down, and normally on the day that I ate, I would obviously like have gone up. Like I would see the next day that my weight had gone up somewhat, or like a decent amount, or somewhat, like at least like 0.8 kilograms or something. But when I saw that it went down from the day before, I was like, holy shit, man, I must have completely evacuated so much stuff after that from that episode. I was like, and sweat, probably sweat so much. I was like, what the fuck, man? But overall, in terms of health, like, I don't know. I mean, I haven't been changing much, which probably isn't a great thing, but I haven't felt the need to. Like, I felt fairly healthy and not like incredible. I'm not like, ugh, like fucking beefcake, super roided up, fucking feeling like, oh man, fucking every day I'm super hyped up and everything. I just feel good. I feel like, I feel better than I did so many years ago when I've been doing the other things that I did. So not changing. The only thing is that I still have the gas thing that I mentioned, from like months ago, when it was just kind of suddenly I started having like GI problems or whatever. Like I would have a lot of bubbling gas and stuff. But now it's like to a lesser degree, but I still have that. And I'm almost thinking that it's going to, by next year, like probably maybe mid next year or something, or early next year, it's probably going to clear up and just go away, because it came out of nowhere. And then I realized after watching some guy's videos, Michael Mahadeva, the Thunder Wizard guy. Like, I disagree with him on a lot of stuff, but I like a lot of the stuff he talks about. And he mentioned, I don't know what it was. It was um some like Eastern culture thing or something like that about the astrological stuff and the constellations, and it kind of rung with me somewhat. And I was like, I looked into it a little bit, and it was interesting. I was like, oh, so for me at least, looking at my stuff here, is that supposedly during these times, this year or whatever that I'm particularly, my constellation or whatever is in, apparently it's pretty frequent to have like gastrointestinal problems or gut problems or something like that. So I'm like, well, maybe it's just that. And then after this, then the next year when the constellation changes, it'll probably go away. I don't know. And right now I've just kind of gotten used to it. It's not like a huge deal. It's just a little bit annoying. And it's subsided most of like the way that I'm eating and stuff like that. Like just the stuff that I eat. Yeah, I don't know. It's that sense it's been different, but it hasn't been like that negative. I've just kind of gotten used to that part. But everything else I've been like completely fine. Like, it was funny. I mean, speaking of that, when I was walking today, just this morning for whatever, like 10, 15 minutes, I decided to, the angle that I was walking towards, the sun was up there. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to fucking force myself to stare at the sun. And I stared at the sun for a good little while. And I can see perfectly. I mean, I've done this before, like, after I kind of was waking up to stuff and people mentioned that they would stare at the sun and everything. And I was like, you know, I'm going to do that. And I have been doing that occasionally. My body has like a reaction or it's almost like conditioned that it doesn't want to look at it or something. Like if I try to look up at it like this, like directly up, I have a super hard time keeping my eyes like open. Like they just don't want to stay open. I'm like, what the like it's super hard. Like it just reacts that it wants to close my eyes and everything. And even when I was looking at it today from like a slightly not as high angle, like this way, and when I was walking, my eyes were still like forcing themselves to squint and tear up and everything, but it wasn't like hurting or anything. It's just, and the only thing is that you just have that little area that's like that glare or whatever the thing for like a little, like a few minutes. It's your vision in that little spot that you were looking at it. It just like has like a colored tint, like a purplish, and then it turns like yellow. But then it goes away. The whatever that spot, it goes away. Like there's no permanent damage. So looking at the sun, whatever they tell us about it is complete bullshit, and I'm sure it's the exact same. 100% sure it's the exact same. Because if you could stare right at the fucking sun, stare right at the sun and not have any problem or damage or any bullshit like that, then why would staring at a solar eclipse be any different? I don't know. It's, you know, I mean, I know that the moon and the sun are much different things, so who knows? But they're fucking complete liars. Like, with that, obviously, that's complete BS. Stare at the sun. I don't know what it benefits me, but I do it sometimes, and I just do it to prove that, see, the stuff that anything that the quote-unquote mainstream ever says is all BS, it's all lies, everything is complete horseshit. So, yeah, that was just one other thing. But yeah, my health has been fine. I haven't been changing much, but even though I probably should here and there. But right now, I've been completely physically, mentally, I'd say also spiritually, very good. I've been in a very good state, and so far I'm happy with it. You know, I'll have to see what happens as time goes on, as it always is, and time is going extremely fast for me recently. Like these days where I was doing the being concerned about the doing the daily video thing, like every day, man. I mean, even before then, it was like every day. It's just time is going so fast now. It is so fast for me, at least. It is just insane. Like I would track when I would masturbate or whatever, like just like I do everything else. I would track when I jerk off or something like that. Like I have a document that I keep, and it'd be like I wouldn't be thinking about it, and then it would just be like, wow, like all of a sudden it's been like 6 days or something, like 8 days since I jerked off or some shit like that. And that, to me, like, that used to be crazy. Like, when I was a kid, I used to do it, like, every day, like, sometimes twice, 3 times a day or whatever thing. Uh, once every, at least, like, once every 2 days kind of stuff. But now it's like, I guess because it's not as interesting to me, it's just kind of like, whatever. Um, but sometimes I get enthused and I feel like doing it more often or something. But the fact that the days are going by so quickly that I don't even realize that it's been like 6 days or something like that since I've done that, and or other stuff, it's just absolutely nuts. Like the fact that the reality, the realm has shifted to a way that time is now the quote unquote time, the perception of time, whatever, is going by so quickly now. It's just, and I'm not exactly against it. It just is what it is. Like, but it's just nuts because there used to be stuff that I would do or I would get done or have time to get done or whatever, and now it's just like boom, like oh, it's been half the day's gone already, or you're about, yeah, it's time to go to bed soon or something like that, and it's just nuts, man. Like for people that are working quote unquote normal jobs, I mean, I'm sure it's probably completely different experience from them to me in many ways because of what I see and how the realm is, the reality is, the nature of it. But if I was doing that, it would literally be like you'd come home from your fucking job or whatever shit, and you'd be like, oh my god, I have no time to do anything, and it would just be awful. But even me, when I have infinite time because I'm not doing any of that shit, it, like, quote unquote infinite time to myself or whatever, to determine what I want to do, it's like nuts, man. So fast, so insanely fast. But like I said, it's not a bad thing. It's just, it is what it is, and it's interesting to see and observe and experience. What's the next question? Question number 4. Do you think him talking about the creeps, whatever the hell you want to go by it, the puppets of this reality, of this realm, do you think that they have been using technologies like 3D printers or replicators to feed the population for a very long time? I was pondering about this recently, how many big cities in the world are now. Tokyo has 39 million people who do not grow any food, but need to feed every day. How is it possible to feed them at all? New York, Moscow, Beijing. Did I mention that? Yeah, Alex is from Belarus. Yeah, he's from Belarus. I feel like I didn't mention that. On that topic, like, the way that I see this realm and this reality, whatever, one, I think that the population numbers are complete BS. Like, they say it's 39 million. Or whatever, just like millions of people, 100,000. I don't think that's the case. Dude, that's just me. Like, I think those numbers are complete BS, for one. Like, if there are that many, then most of those are just generated beings or whatever, like NPCs kind of stuff. I don't know. I look at those numbers and they seem completely BS to me as far as I'm concerned. Like, when I look around, I don't know what, like, if I looked at the population for my township or something like that I live in, it would say, I don't know, probably like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or some shit. Who knows? And I'm like, where? Like, where are these people? Like, there's so many houses and so many other things like that, but it's not enough to have that many. It's just, to me, as far as I'm concerned, it's complete BS, those numbers that we're given. Or we're told, whatever. And the other thing involving 3D printing and replicators, in the same vein, it's like, I don't even think that there needs to be a real physical thing that that this stuff gets quote unquote like made from or made or like created from. Like, similar to if I wanted to create 10,000 apples or watermelons or whatever in Oblivion, the game Oblivion, like, I could just put in a console command and then spawn 10,000 apples, 10,000 watermelons. Like, the whole idea of the supply chain and all these things, I think, as I had a video about kind of questioning this, I was like, where are all these things coming from? Like, why, how are these stores every day having fresh apples, fresh produce, all this stuff, and it's always stocked and all this other stuff, And I don't even see that many trucks coming in like every day to have this stuff, but somehow it's all there for all these supposedly thousands and thousands of people. I'm like, this is impossible. And that's just how I look at it. Like, maybe there are 3D printers and replicators doing that stuff, but I don't even think that is even a necessary part of that equation. I think this stuff just comes out of nowhere. It comes out of nothing. It is just created. We are given the illusion that it is created from something, that it is grown from somewhere. I personally just think that no, it's just the reality, the realm. It just makes it. It wills it into being, and it is made. Like there is not necessarily any reason to, at least as far as I've seen in my neck of the woods, it does not make any sense how that would be possible with the quote unquote normal means of growing the food. It has like a time where it's only able to grow in so many numbers, transporting it, packaging it. Like I've worked in a place where they package like cosmetics and stuff like that, and it is absurd the amount of crap that they make. But even then, it's not enough to satisfy the supposed supply or whatever. Like even for that with the cosmetics, it was like absurd. Like how many people need that? Like how often do people really need that many shampoo bottles and stuff like that? But the stuff, especially with like food, yeah, like it's either some kind of technology like that, which I'm sure it's there, or it's anything is possible. But to me, I don't even think it is that. I think it's just that one, the numbers are a lie, or complete BS, whatever, made up numbers, and the stuff, it just gets poof like magic. It just gets made up from nowhere. Like the stuff gets transported there from nowhere. That's just that to so many people that would be like, that's absurd. But that this place, as far as I'm concerned, is a virtual, maybe not virtual environment like in the digital sense, but it is a artificial environment, an artificial realm that we've created. It's a video game, essentially. Any of this stuff can be instantly fabricated, manufactured, made, appeared, spawned, whatever you want to say, instantly. It's not being, most of it's not being grown or whatever shit like that by normal means. It's just being created, manifested. Yeah, like manifested. That's it. That's my opinion on that, I guess. Number 5. What are your latest conspiracy discoveries that shocked you? Honestly, like none recently, because I've just been completely like ignoring and just shutting off the whole thing of conspiracies and whatever that kind of like concept, just because it doesn't really interest me that much anymore, and I realize people just kind of use it as a they use it to distract themselves, to because they don't have something that they're doing themselves. Like I see so many of these people on these channels, they'll comment, if they're real people, I don't know. I mean, they seem real enough, I guess, that they're stuff, I suppose. But they're just bored. They're just like with social media and shit like that. Like just people that mindlessly scroll through it. They're just bored. Like that's how I look at it. Like they really don't give a shit if George Washington was actually a person, or if these presidents or these people are actually people, or if they're reptilians or any shit. They really don't give a shit about that. They're just distracting themselves. They're filling a void within themselves, I feel, and just trying to entertain themselves. That's how I look at it. Like, it's almost always comes down to it. Even if they they seem to be not gaining any entertainment from it, they're doing it almost like a soap opera. Like, they're watching it, they're observing it, they're trying to consume it like any other media or any other thing, entertainment, like a soap opera, like a show or whatever, a drama. And, that's fair enough. That just me, I was never that interested in it because I felt like it never really did anything for me when I looked into some of these. Like, it's interesting to ponder, obviously. Like, are dinosaurs, were they ever real? And to me, I say that no, they weren't. And are they lying? Yeah, like, of course they are. It's just the pursuit of those conspiracies and stuff like that, it doesn't matter to me anymore. Because to me personally, because when I realize that this place is a video game, when I view this place as a video game, all that stuff really, it means nothing. It's just as much of a important thing to ponder on or focus on or put my energy into as some random side quest in some RPG or something like that, where a guy just lost his 12 pigs and you need you to receive him or something like that. I don't know. Like it means just as little to me at this point. So the conspiracy stuff, I've almost completely like shut myself off to the frequencies. I really don't care. Like if people tell me like, oh yeah, I would completely be like, you know, if somebody tells me something about a Mandela effect or something, like, oh man, that is crazy. That is interesting, but I'm not actively pursuing or like caring about it. It's like a conversation piece. That's it. Outside of that, I just don't care anymore. I just care about the things that I'm personally focusing on, the goals and the activities that I'm focusing on and enjoying and trying to enjoy and stuff like that, pursue. But the conspiracy stuff, I just don't really have a interest in. And I never really had that much of an interest in anyway. It was just kind of the people that were in the kind of group that we're in, or whatever you want to say, that talk about this stuff. They often, that is their entertainment. And for me, I'm not really entertained about it, and I don't care about it. I don't care about this stuff anymore. This reality is what it is. It does magical, impossible, seemingly impossible things. And whatever conspiracies, they could be all true, they could be all false. It doesn't matter. That's just how I look at it now. And the last question that he wrote down, number 6, have any miracles or weird things happened to you lately that are hard to explain? Hey, I mean, I don't know. I'd say, you know, as a cop-out response, I'd say, like, just my existence, or all of our existence, and everything going on is a miracle that's impossible to be explained in itself. Like, every day I always wonder, it's like, yeah, everything that we do here is just, if we actually thought about it in the quote-unquote logical way that we're told about, everything that happens is basically impossible, like, by that definition. So everything is magical and impossible and a miracle in itself, basically. Like, there really isn't any specific thing that's happened to me of recently. I just noticed, like, how this place works. That's just how it is. Like, I see patterns, and then I see stuff change and everything, and it's just like, wow, that's impossible, but it happened anyway, so that's how it is here. That's just how this place works. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't have much else to say about that. That's just kind of as simple as it is for me to explain personally. It's like, yeah, everything is a miracle. Everything is equally as possible, impossible, in this magical realm, reality that we reside in, that we've created. That's kind of how I look at it. Now, is there anything else that? Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't really have any questions for you, Alex, because you know you're the one who reached out to me, and I've been very selfish in my thinking as of recently, like even more selfish than I even normally was, where I'm just like, I don't know, like I feel and kind of know how this place works for me, how this place is for me, and I almost don't really care that much to like actively pursue and ask other people how it works for them anymore, or whatever. I don't know, because it's always just going to be something different, and I don't know. I've just been very selfish in my thinking in that sense. So I'm sorry, I didn't really have any questions like that I had written down specifically for you, because I'm just like, you know, to put it bluntly, I don't know. I just don't really care about what other people are doing or thinking. Like, I don't know. I'm just doing my own stuff, and that's not, like I said, I'm genuinely not trying to sound like a dick saying that. I'm just trying to be 100% honest. Like, just saying, I just didn't have anything else to ask. I don't have anything that I really care to ask other people about unless they, in the middle of a conversation, the way it's flowing, I would ask them like, oh yeah, how is like that? Like, oh, that's interesting. But as something that like I care to ask, I don't have anything to ask. I don't have anything that I care to know about other people that much anymore right now. It's just I care about me, I care about what I'm doing, and I care about what I'm trying to do and pursue and how I am in this reality. That is my way of caring about others, is by caring about myself. And I've not been very curious about other people's stuff that much, but you know, it's unfortunate we couldn't have a one-on-one conversation, but I did like many of your questions there, you know, and I figured I might as well do my part and try to answer them as best as I can in this little talk here. And it was fun talking about stuff that I haven't really talked about in a while, I guess. But I guess there's not much else to say. It's gone on for over an hour. I'm probably not gonna edit like anything because fuck it. It's too much effort. Who cares? I don't care. It's it'll be as it is, whatever it sounds like, and whatever ramblings go on and pauses and stuff. But yeah, this is as naturally as you could have it, talking or listening to me, I guess. But yeah, maybe anybody found that interesting. But that's me, and that's Alex's questions. I will link his channel in the description and everything. And yeah. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good one in this crazy, magical realm, reality we reside in, and have a good one.